Dom time. Indeed. Let's jump in. I'm not sure where this account is at on 4X, but it doesn't matter. We're going to take what we want, not... this is a paid account. We don't need to take anything we don't want to take. And this is actually a pretty easy pick for me here. It's not this. You could build around this in some weird ways in this set, but you don't really want to run this. This is not where you want to be, but this is exactly where we want to be. I love being blue in this format. I want to be Sultai colors in general, and very specifically, I want to be blue-green splash black, blue-black, or... yeah, those are really the two. Blue-green splash black, or three-color, or... But anyway, blue, 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 blue. Voting is probably working because it's Dominaria. That would be my guess. Excellent. Some support for Baird here. Oh, this is great. I haven't seen what you all think in, like, weeks. Cool. Anyway, so actually now, oh, and look, I get to do this. We're going to go to draft view, and I'm actually going to turn on, where is it? Somewhere it's in here. Here we go. Don't correct for Deckmaster. Deckmaster does behave weirdly when it comes to the card you're clicking versus the card that rolls over when you click. So just click the one that you see. Don't worry about what it rolls over into. And Sprout Swarm is also, you know, okay. Like you could take, I think I like Sapperling Migration better than Sprout Swarm. I think getting up to, I don't know. They're very equivalent. They're very equivalent. This has got 2 modes, which is nice. This only has the 1 mode, and it's right in the middle and gives you 3. But I'm all about being in blue if I can start there. So we're definitely doing this. And I'm all about not being in white. For those of you voting on Baird, I don't know what kind of familiarity you have with the format, but white's not very good in this format at all as a main color. I will splash it in green decks and decks that have the right fixing. But even if you do end up white, because the format the bots just force you to be there or something, or you open Lyra and just go with it, Baird is not good. Baird is not, it's double white for a very low impact card. You just don't want, yeah, there has been good white for sure, Motor City Mama, but just apparently not Dave Humphreys sets. But this is not the right pick. So if you're in your head on this, I think you're taking the wrong approach to this format, and you should get out of your white mindset and get out of the idea that a 2/4 vigilance, that, like, yes, he's legendary, but he's not the pick. I'm gonna start with Divination. Sarah seems also tempting, but amazingly, we have been past one of my favorite cards in the set, Tatyova. Told you I like to be in blue and either blue-green splash stuff or blue-black, and this is the best blue-green splash stuff card there is, basically, in the set. And this is a good white card, this is a good white card, and this is a decent white card. So what actually excites me about this is that we're probably putting the bots to our left heavily into white with this sequencing, especially. And we're not even, you know, you hear Marshall and Luis and me talk about, you know, don't have fancy play syndrome about signals and do the thing where, like, let's say this wasn't Tatyova, but it was a maybe some weaker blue card, some blue card a little bit better than this. Then if I'm sitting here talking about, haha, we're going to take this weaker blue card and pass these great white cards and we'll be geniuses, that's not good. But this is just the best card in the pack, so it's great when it works out that way. That you got the best card in the pack and you're sending a great signal away from your colors to the left. Yavimaya Sap Herd is fine. Gives you 2 bodies. That can be useful. Memorial to Genius is like a free pick because it draws 2 cards and doesn't take up a spell slot. I'm kind of leaning Memorial here. We can also take Thallid Omnivore. If you end up in pure Sultai, you end up with a lot. You can end up with a lot of Sapperling combinations. But one of the reasons I like black a lot in the format is the bots don't seem to value. We'll see if they change it. I don't know how they've updated the bots, but Thallid Omnivore is something that the bots haven't historically valued highly, so it might even wheel. Con Varlin asks, do bots even know about signals? No, not in I think the way you're asking, but while not knowing about signals, they send and receive perfect signals. So it's not that the bots are thinking, haha, that red card is a signal, but the bots are very good at saying, according to my data, that red card is the best card in this pack, and I haven't settled into my colors yet, therefore I'm going to take it. And that is what really signal reading is all about. So even though their bots don't know what the concept of a signal is, they still effectively act on signals better than humans do. And they send better signals than humans do. But also that means early on, you need to understand that bots are being flexible to your right. Like they aren't locking in. You know, I would say even the thing that's weirdest about the bots for people is how much they pass good cards, but that's because they're being disciplined drafters. Once they lock into a color, they're just going to pass the good cards. So anyway, where's the voting? We got some Sap Herd support and some Genius support. I think that's probably the correct. Those are the correct things to consider here, and we hope to wheel an Arcanist or an Arcane Flight. One thing to think about in Dominaria draft, if you're in the blue plan, is what's your inevitability. And you want inevitability of just like the overwhelming card advantage of Tachyova or whatever, but sometimes you don't get bombs, and it's worth remembering that there's a 4/5 hexproof for 6 in blue that if you throw an Arcane Flight on becomes a 5/6 hexproof flyer that can become your inevitability in a deck that doesn't have the high-end bomb stuff. So a lot of support for the Sap Herd, but I'm going to take Memorial. I think the power of a land spell is great. And we can take this Sap Herd, though. It's a perfect place for this one. And another flight that might wheel. What are we taking here? There's only one card that I like here, and that's Windgrace Acolyte. I don't like Adventurous Impulse. It can wheel, and it is playable, but it's not exciting. And if black opens up, we'll be happy to have a Windgrace Acolyte, or if we do end up just splashing the blue, then we'll be happy with the Windgrace Acolyte. Soul Salvage is one of the critical cards for me in liking the Sultai archetype in Dominaria. Again, this is one that goes late. You don't want a bunch of them. You'd rather have generally, like I want like 2 divinations and 1 Soul Salvage, but I'd even play 2. You often get very powerful creatures, and when you can buy back Tachyova after they finally manage to kill her, you just can't. It's really tough to lose. So we're going to take Soul Salvage. Llanowar Envoy is utterly replaceable, but kind of playable, and is the pick here. You can take Rescue as well. Rescue has some interesting tricks in the format. It gets back Sagas if you set the stop correctly. Make sure to set your stops to respond. But if you let the 3rd chapter trigger, while the 3rd chapter triggers on the stack, you can rescue your own Saga and then replay it that turn and put it back on chapter 1. That's a good trick to remember in the format. But we're going to take the Envoy here. Protector is utterly replaceable. I have played Protector, unfortunately, here and there, but very rarely. Pierce the Sky is main deckable if you're weak to flyers. The best decks in the format tend to involve black or blue, both of which have common level flyers that you see a lot of. So Pierce the Sky can be main decked. We're going to take a Guardians, though, on slightly more spec here. These are both not likely to have huge impact on our deck or even make the cut. But there are also shenanigans with Guardians of Koilos that are similar to shenanigans that I was talking about with that Rescue. So we'll take Guardians on that spec. Yeah, this is best of 1. I frequently do the title stuff after, but yeah, it helps people see that we do know what we're talking about here. Do a quick update there. I'm taking an extra long time to talk about stuff here because this is the return to a format that I'm sure a lot of you aren't familiar with. There's new people coming into Magic all the time, new people coming into Arena, and if you have not drafted Dominaria before, I'm hoping that I can give you a baseline here that will help you succeed and do it in a nice, slow, steady way here. Pterodactyl, thank you for the follow. So Wizard's Retort is fine and playable. Divest is also fine and playable. I think I'm a little higher on Divest than like Luis and Marshall were by the end of the format, and maybe it's my arena heaviness or whatever, but I find that the game plan for me in Dominaria is to survive until I can loop broken things, right? And I want to survive to loop broken things by having impactful early plays, and Divest is an impactful early play that can really disrupt an opponent's entire first 5-turn sequence that they intended in a way that can really just let you get to that inevitability. But countering stuff tends to be better at any point in time. You can loop counter spells. There's ways to get counter spells back, although kind of in red. We're not really there in this particular draft, but we're going to take the Retort over the Divest, but I did want to call out that I do consider Divest to be playable. And here's another opportunity at a Divest, but we want an Arcanist. An Arcanist as a 1/3 does protect against... It's kind of an example of the multitude of cards in the set at 2 mana that make it so unfriendly to aggro. There's a lot of 1/3s for 2 in the set, a lot of 1/3s for 2 that have 4 mana kickers to make them do awesome stuff, so that for the most part, people are just waiting to cast them with the 4 mana kicker, but in a pinch, if your opponent shows aggro, boom, you drop down this 1/3 for 2, and then again, you survive to the late game. And with Arcanist, you can even do things like, oh, we're stuck on 2, but we untapped and we're able to cast Divination, so it's a really nice way to defend and keep up your mana acceleration for the spell heaviness of this potential archetype. Here's another Arcanist, but here's that Omnivore that came all the way around. That's what I'm talking about. I think we take Omnivore number 1 over Arcanist number 2, or the Arcane Flight backup plan. I think we have another Arcane Flight coming in the next pack anyway. And this is powerful enough that we could, we can get rid of Wizard's Retort, get rid of Arcanist, splash Tatiova, Divination, and Memorial to Genius, which you can absolutely do. Use blue... you use Genius to splash your blue, and then when you get your second source, you get to cash in your splash for 2 cards. So we're going to take Omnivore. All right, the other Arcane Flight didn't make it back, but that's okay. Like I said, it's more of a backup plan kind of card than the main plan anyway, and we'll have more opportunities. We'll just take an Impulse here, though. These 2 are not playable cards. This is playable if you're desperate, but your draft has not gone well if you're running a Drudge Sentinel. Scholar versus Unwind. We'll take a Scholar. Again, a 2/3, not what you really want to see, but it does reduce the cost of Retort, and in a desperation mode, you can run a Scholar, but you hope not to. So Ramp is very powerful, but I'd rather grab an Urgaros, and then we have an Urgaros, a Tatiova, and a Soul Salvage, which between those 3 things kind of does give us some fairly reliable inevitability. That's inevitability that can be trumped by an opponent's superior inevitability, but it's a nice place to start. Here we have a Dark Bargain. So I'm starting to feel like we're actually more leaning towards the green-black, Saproling, Splash, Blue approach, which means we do need to look out for green cards that allow us to splash. We haven't really seen that yet, and I don't want to be just a naked 3-color deck. But Dark Bargain is great. It's a kind of black divination in that way. But you get some choice. Very good card. Snap it up here. Here's another Acolyte, but we have a Scriptures. That seems like quite a windmill, huh? I didn't assume we would get something good there, and I kind of dismissed it as one of the janky ones. But this is an example of the bot's willingness to pass colors they're not in, and an example of the signal stuff we were talking about earlier working. The thing about bots is, I noticed, hey, if we cut, if we send a lot of white, decent white to the left, our pack 2 is likely to be very good. And so hopefully this is the first payoff of many to come in this pack by sending bots to our left into white. If we were for splashing red, Fight with Fire maybe is even the pick here because there's not much else to take. Yeah, actually it is Fight with Fire. I don't look like we're splashing red yet, but if we get, by the end of the draft, a couple of the find 2 basics green fixing, then we might even be able to run this. This is a very well-designed card, but not really a good limited card, so we're going to pass on the Eruption and take Fight with Fire. For those of you, looks like there was support for Opt or the kicker 3/3 dude. The 1/1 that kicks to a 3/3 just doesn't really have a home in this format. It's just not doing what I want. Oh, that's funny. There's 2 Jodas, so we missed out on the wizard deck apparently. And this is an interesting pick. I'm going to see where you all land on this before I talk about it. What are your votes for this one? I see voting where I expected it, which is basically on the blue cards. I actually think the choice is between Syncopate and Academy Drake. We'll probably wheel the Syncopate, though, so it's really, to me, just a pretty easy Academy Drake. And the reason why is because first, we already have Divination, we already have Dark Bargains. We've got 2 card draws, and we have Tatiova, and we have Memorial to Genius, and we have Urgoros. We have ways to draw cards in our deck already. Weight of Memory draws extra ones, but it doesn't do the trick. First, it's double blue, and we're likely to be splashing blue. The kicker does not contain blue here, so 7 mana splash is easy for a 4/4 flyer. And but that's mainly the one of the great values of Divination is being able to cast it on 3 to get out of mana tightness, and Weight of Memory doesn't do that. Syncopate is another legit choice, though. We have no 2s going, which may be why some were voting for the ooze, but even I don't think lack of 2s is a big deal breaker in this format, so we can risk that, but we should look out for 2s that we can get behind, especially for splashing blue. We have 0 2s, right? I get that, but I'm not worried yet. Not worried enough yet to take the Academy Drake. Might be worried enough actually to take the Syncopate, though. Now looking at that, but I really do want to be in black with Scriptures and be splashing blue. So I'm going to consider us splashing blue. That makes it maybe even between Divest and Academy Drake if we really worried about our early game. But I'm going to take the Drake, and but from here we got to recognize that our low drops are few, and we should shore that up if we can. Here's a blink that can kind of do that if we're heavy blue. I mean, maybe what we are is actually blue-black, bend over backwards to splash Tatiova. That actually feels like more where we're at now, isn't it? So there's also Whisper, which works well with Saprolings if we can get them. But, oh yeah, Ooze is pretty horrible, but and if I'm trying to figure out if I would run Ooze even if I had no 2s, are you ever desperate enough for 2s to run the Ooze? And I don't No. This is getting a little weird, though. I'm not sure where we're at. Because I thought, you know, we started out with Tatyova early, and then, like, Tatyova into Sap Herd, which made me feel very green, but then we haven't really taken a green card since. So, and we did pass those Saproling cards in pack 1, so it may be that we also put some bots into green with our, you say green isn't possible, but we are in pack 2. We could easily get a flood of green in pack 3 that sends us in that direction. It really depends on, I think at this point, what we pick up from here. If any amazing stuff is in pick 7 or 8, you know, the 2 that we haven't seen yet, or pack 3 early stuff is probably going to dictate. Whisper is another way to make sure your Tatyova and Urgoros continue to produce value, but it is at its best when you're producing a lot of Saprolings, which we're not doing yet. I'm going to take the Blink, but I don't think it's super obvious. I think we're still a little bit muddy on exactly where we're at. What infinite combo are you talking about? I really don't like Cabal Paladin. I don't think these 4/2s for 4 are particularly playable. They trade down basically every time, and the handful of times that the 2 damage clause has been annoying, but it's not like... Yeah. There you go. I hear Sai, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Sai, I'll call you Sai for now. What Sai is saying is correct. Like, Infinite says I can do this as many times as I want right now, but the combo you're describing isn't particularly good. You're saying, hey, play those 3 terrible cards, or not terrible, play those 3 meh cards, and they become something slow and grindy. It's like, this format has plenty of that already. We're going to take Blink and try and understand what this draft wants of us at this point. Coldwater Snapper is the other part of the flight combo I was talking about, where if you don't have good win conditions, you can fall back on that. We're okay. We've got our win conditions, though. I don't think we need to go to the Coldwater Snapper level of things, but it still might be the better pick than just a Primordial Worm, which seems like... There's also Divest. I think this is where we take Divest, and this is where I'm talking, like, it's not that it's an amazing card, but that if what we're trying to do is make sure we get to this stuff alive, you can do a lot worse than divesting in the early turns. So I'm going to take it on that theory. And speaking of things to do early, here we go. Here's a Syncopate I can absolutely get behind, and I certainly hope we wheel that other one, because Syncopate is great for exactly the kind of consideration I'm talking about, of getting to the late game, and then it also has the benefit of actually doing stuff in the late game too, because decks are so mana hungry and are doing such mana intensive things even into the late game, that Syncopate keeps its value more so than it does in other sets. Befuddle is unfortunately 3 mana. If it were 2 mana for a smaller effect or something, I would be happier, because we're trying to fill our 1s and 2s with playables, but we'll take the Befuddle. It can make the cut. And I'm not going to take a second Befuddle over first Opt. Opt doesn't do much. It's something to do early, but it doesn't really help other than to set up draws. So I'm not high on it or anything, but we'll take it there. Another Arcanist is actually good. Yeah, it really does look like we're blue-black, and then we'll want to find some Skittles for the splash. I really do want to play this Tatyova. Vault Progress. Desperate, we could play a Rat Colony, but again, I don't think I would be even desperate enough for a Rat Colony. Well, tell us what you want us to do, deck. Tell us what you want us to do, Fate. All right. Yeah, we do want a Skitters. Skitters badly. Skittles, right here, right here, right here. Oh, I saw artifacts down at the bottom and got excited, but we missed. We did hit here, though. Our bomb level is just keep going on the rise, but I'm feeling less and less Tatyova-y. Torgar, you say. This is an interesting pick. So we got Torgar, Divination, Caligo, and Windgrace. Any thoughts here? Where are you all at? A lot of support for the rare. Don't worry about gems. We're on the paid account, so paid account does not care. And also, I don't think either the paid account or the free-to-play account are going to 4x rares in Dominaria to take advantage of gem grind, so it's not really a factor. This is not about rare drafting. This is about winning this draft. And with that comment, things have settled into kind of more what I expected, which is a debate between Caligo, Skin Witch, and the rare. And for me, it's actually a pretty easy Skin Witch, given our current situation. This is not a bomb. It's okay. Especially in Saprling. Saprlings, he gets actually good, but he's just okay. And we're full of bombs. We got our bombs. We're done with bombs. I want to survive. And Caligo does exactly what I was talking about in terms of being 1/3 for 2, that if you're up against aggro, can just drop, join the Arcanists, and in fact, let's do, I don't know why it's doing that. Join the Arcanists and defend. Or we wait till 6 and really wreck them. So to me, it's easy Skin Witch. Here, we got the easy Skin Witch, but there's also another Soul Salvage, which might wheel, and there's also a Whisper, which does not have the Saprling support to go nuts, but even without Saprling support, can justify a pick sometimes. We're also pretty low on 4s, so there's that. I don't think we're playing this in a million years, much less Tatyova. In fact, let's tighten up our display here a little bit to show only what we're really interested in. Now, I guess, fine, I'll put this over here. That's weird, though. Why? Like, it's weird that it leaves a 0. There's almost, oh, I guess it's for, maybe for future tablets or something. I don't know. Anyway, here's our real, here's a more real look at where we're at. And I think this puts me on another Skin Witch. Wow. Yeah. Slam. Another Soul Salvage. Another Dark Bargain. Chronicler is another one of the 1/3s for 2 with a kicker that makes it incredible. But we'll bargain it up here. And another Academy Drake or a Tetsuko. Actually, we might be done on the... We probably don't need another Academy Drake. Like, this is going up here with this stuff effectively. Like, we are so thick on big flyers now that we just don't need that. We might need a Tetsuko as an extra 1/3. I'll take it under consideration. I actually don't know that song, though, so first the song has to impress me. That's what makes my my themed playlists so difficult. It would be easy to just come up with a theme and find songs that technically fit the theme, but finding good songs that fit the theme is a challenge. Although if it's a meme, it doesn't really matter. A meme can be a terrible song if it's a good moment in a song, but my starting songs have to be good. Anyway, where are we at? We want the 2-drop. The other thing I'm going back on, though, is like I really don't want to play a 1/3 for 2 that does nothing. And while it could be getting, these Arcanists and Skin Witches through, I don't know if it's actually going to make the cut against Arcanist Skin Witch stuff, but I don't think at this point the Academy Drake is either, which is good news for us. So I guess I'll take the thing that we might not have as much as we want of. And Dark Bargain number 3 is unlikely given the divination and other card drawing we have. Banana Jack asks a good question. So are we going to play this Tatiova? Probably not. I think our deck is powerful enough without her. Breaks my heart, but this deck is kind of nutty in terms of its bomb content, so let's just make sure we cast our spells. Like, let's take out that. And Rat Colony is not gonna play. Scholar is hopefully gone. Omnivore, not great in this deck anymore, but it's still a nice threat of activation that even in its weakened... I'm going to take Bargain. Should almost take Board the Weatherlight. What was pack 1, pick 1? It was Divination. But I'll take a Bargain, even though I'm not 100% not thinking we'll play it. Soul Salvage. We already have 2 Soul Salvages. I'm going to take another Arcanist. And here's a Rescue. Like, it's almost like this Diligent Excavator is worth more than the Tetsuko. I think you're wrong, Sai. What do you mean? We have... you say except Bells and Lock, but we have Bells and Lock, Clutches, Eldest Reborn, Scriptures, and 2 Soul Salvages. It's like, can we just say we have 3 Demon Lord Bells and Locks? I mean, I don't regret passing Torgar in the slightest. I don't think we needed that card. But we'll take Vault Progress / maybe we run this here. Rescue, again, we have Scriptures and we have the other one. Where is it? Eldest Reborn. So Scriptures and Reborn interact well with Rescue with the 3rd chapter trigger on the stack. But that's probably Fancy Play Syndrome here. Then again, we're probably not excavating. I'll take Vault Progress. I don't think we're gonna do that. Here's yet another Soul Salvage that we don't need. Well, I love this seat. I love this pile of powerful cards. Let's see if it can make it to its inevitability. Looks like we did have this. Oh yeah, I did play a ton of Dom on this account, so it's not totally surprising that we ground some gems. But I wasn't going to cash in any wild cards. We're just going to take what we get. So I'll make a note that we did grind for 40 gems there. Two cuts from this deck. This is a 4. You're not even a wizard. At least these are wizards. See, I think I want to cut Tetsuko, although it would make a lot of our random stuff unblockable, which can get really annoying as you're trying to close out a game and then suddenly your stuff is unblockable. Yeah, I think Opt is a easy first cut. This kind of slots in here. Let's look at these numbers. Yeah, it's about typical for me in this format. Kind of makes me want to cut like a Befuddle. Kind of like the look of that. But might want to go... I know we have double black for the Scriptures and this stuff, but We have double blue early as well, and more blue cards that we want to cast early, so I want to make that adjustment. Yeah, Skin Witch is double black, that's fair. But it's double black, again, up at this range. And generally, when I'm looking at a fairly even and we're just trying to figure out where the tiebreaker land goes, I want to go to what I'm trying to do on 2. 18 land is a consideration. Yeah, we can look at that for a second. Maybe that would be correct. Because, again, we just want to make sure we cast our spells, and then we should be in great shape. So you can make an argument like that, or maybe even down an Arcanist and play the legend. And yeah, maybe the Scholar can come in and just be a little bit more impressive of a blocker. Opt over 18th land. That's also a consideration. This just lets us have more, straight up more swamps in the deck, though. Now I'm thinking about this Scholar again, trying to figure out if the Scholar deserves to be in the deck. Maybe even over the Divest. Yeah, actually, you know, we have between 2 Dark Bargains and Divination, I don't want the Opt back in, but I also don't want the 18th land. We're going to lean on our 3 card draw spells to get us to our big end. So what if we go like this and put the Scholar back in like that? And I like the triple Arcanist over like 2 Arcanist and Tetsuko, because this is a legit ability in this deck. It can help us if we're stuck on mana, you know, if we're stuck on 3, we can Dark Bargain with an Arcanist, you know, that kind of thing. Makes your Syncopates better, etc. So I like this. I like this. Why am I saying this? This time, we're going to... Well, sometimes you do, Sai, right? I mean, the real strength of Kicker is that I'd say 90+% of the times I kick the Skin Witch, but the 10% of the time that I play a 1/3 for 2, I'm either desperate because of a land crunch or because of aggression, and I'm really happy to be able to do that. So in a similar vein, there have absolutely been times where I'm like, Drake trades with whatever. Great. Get down here, Drake, on 3 and trade, and then boom, later on we soul salvage you, and then you're a 4/4. I mean, that's Soul Salvage is a sneaky, excellent card in the set because it just allows you to do things like that. Run out your Drakes and let them trade or eat removal. Run out your big stuff, and if they kill it, no worries. You'll get it back. And I'm going to call this Bomb Salvage. Actually, also I should be up here when I'm deck building, make it a little easier for y'all. Of course, doing it right at the end, so it doesn't really matter. Well, this is just right where I want to be in this format. We are a little light on removal. I acknowledge that. That's a you know, part of how you tend to get there with these decks is to recur some, you have some removal, but we have big style removal. You know, we have scriptures and clutches. We just don't have reach out and kill something, which may come to bite us, but I think this is a decent deck. One reason Kicker, Logan asks, do you know why Kicker is not used more? It is such a good and interesting design. Well, one of the drawbacks of it is that it's like, it's too good, it's too general. There's a joke in R&D that every mechanic is Kicker, which is to say, many mechanics explore the space of you can pay X or Y, or you can pay either or both X or Y, you know, all sorts of alternate cost. Here's its baseline, here's what you can do with some extra investment, you know, and so that baseline mechanic is so useful that there's a way in which it's almost too good for its own good. But I think as long as they are taking the lessons of Kicker and making sure that sets have that kind of flexibility in their spells, that's great. But I could, you know, could you make Kicker evergreen? Yeah, maybe it's worthwhile as an ever. It is very good. I think it's a big reason this set is great, and it's a big reason that you both you don't ever feel like you're out of things to do with your mana, you know. All right, let's go test this out though. MTG Bobocop, yeah, I called that out earlier. Omnivore is not great without Saproling support, but the threat of activation generally makes it attack like a 5/5, even when you don't, like, because you got things like Arcanist and expired Skin Witches and whatever, where your opponent sees that, yes, you would absolutely be willing to sacrifice an Arcanist to turn that thing into a 5/5, you know? So I do think it's still playable. We'll keep these. Has our 23rd card in it, but I still think this is keepable. We do have... I guess we don't have double blue counter spells we can play on 2 or anything. I don't love a Construct. I think it gets outclassed too quickly. Let me play this. They may want to send that Construct into the 1/3 to put a counter on the Ooze or whatever, but we can accept that. Or we can just take it and play out the Scholar, which then threatens to trade with or to eat the Ooze. So I'm actually gonna block with the Arcanist. Let's see if they even want to do anything. If we trade for a trick or whatever, that's great as well. But now we get to drop Scholar and more sit back here, and they didn't show a trick there, so I'm thinking, like, rather than making a 3/3 that we can't block without losing a creature, now we get a spot where maybe they send the Construct, but we at least buy a turn where they can't attack with the Ooze unless they have tricks we don't know about, or maybe that they can play now. Yeah, see, they're already done. We also have Blink of an Eye at the ready now, which is great. We can basically pass the turn here, and we get to Dark Bargain if we don't need to blink something. But this is exactly why I want small power, big butts, and why I don't play these types of cards. Because this just the way this game is playing out is all too common if you go with 1/1s and 2/2s. And it's not over or anything. I'm just saying I feel great when my opponent plays these cards, and I don't want you all to play them. I have run a Corrosive Ooze in my time, but only when I was just desperate for 2s. Just desperate. And speaking of desperate, I think this is Oppo getting a little desperate and wanting to make that Ooze bigger, which is fine, especially now that we have a Blink of an Eye. And also that we've slowed this down. Yeah, they may get a 3/3 or whatever. We're very close to having a 4/3 flying Hypnotic Spectre or whatever, so. And Blink of an Eye, blinking the Ooze would also be good. Now this is where our lack of removal is a problem. Like, this is the kind of thing I want to reach out and kill, and I'm not going to be able to, and the Urgoros can't attack through it, but we will try and set up a turn where Urgoros gets through because of a blink bounce, and then maybe we get lucky and, yeah, it's at random, so maybe we can get the Spider out by bounce attack after they've emptied their hand. So that's kind of my plan A for that Spider right now, and before we go to our turn, then we'll bargain it up. Yeah, Blink into Skin Witch also does that as well. So, or clutches. We'll take, where's our land situation? Omnivore, as we said, is not great here, and I'm just going to take the land. If the Omnivore becomes relevant later, we can get it. All right, looks like it wasn't needed per se, but I don't regret it. We'll drop the Memorial here, and no attacks. Yeah, and we can even do, like, we'll see what they do. If they dump their hand here and go down to 1 card in hand, we'll absolutely bounce the Spider and then kick the Skin Witch. And then that basically just should take care of them. Huh, they want to attack. I'm just thinking about taking this trade, this offer for the Ooze. We don't really need the Arcanist for anything anymore. And yeah, so I'm fine to take this offer. Two cards. Play 2 cards. Play 2 cards. Come on, bam bam. Oh, that's pretty good. I might have to go for the clutches on Untamed, and then do the bounce. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go with clutches here probably. Soul Salvage is nice. Pick one of those up. We'll go ahead and attack. Huh. I don't recommend playing that main deck either, but it's working out for Oppo here. But now we get to decide... oh, no, we don't. I was thinking... We could, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can actually blink and kick. Then we go to... Let's see, what do we have to Soul Salvage? Just the Omnivore. We can also chump with the Arcanist to save some life to set up the blink. Yeah, we have the Scholar, but I mean, we don't have anything we're too keen on getting back, is what I'm saying. Let's do this. And really, it's about Urgaros. I'm going to do Urgaros, and then we'll sit on the Blink. We have Blink that we can play off the Arcanist, and we can also chump with the Arcanist. Granted, the Kavu has Trample. Oh, only Vigilance, thanks. Yeah, that's good. That's... Oh, it has Trample. Lying to me. That's alright, chat. I don't read cards either. That's what I was thinking, G-Guards. That's why I played Urborg. We can even double block the Spider. In fact, we're absolutely gonna. Playing the long game here. Yeah, we could just let it go, but this is great. Like, this is why I have no worries here. This is what we love Soul Salvage for. Our only big worry is that they are also playing black and could Skin Witch us. All right, now we're going to do that plan. We're a mana off from actually getting a card value out of Skin Witch. We could also wait on that front, too. They're likely to... Let's see. Because they could go Memorial. If we Blink and Skin Witch, they could Memorial. We can also just play an Academy Drake. Yeah, I'm going to play a big Academy Drake and offer that trade as well. I'm playing it a little cagey here, but I think we have the time. Just check. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Skin Witch is the least popular menu at menu item at Quiznos, right? All right, great. They're activating Memorial, and we should probably get a good Skin Witch on our turn if they don't Skin Witch us. Because they'll untap. If they have a land, they'll play the land. They'll maybe even kick the... We want to leave them with... We want them to have one card at the end of this turn. And perfect. Krosan Druid is 8 for the kicker. We don't really care about their life total. It's almost irrelevant. We have 4, 8, 9. We have 9. Yeah, if I knew for 100% sure a land was on top, I would just wait and blink with the blink for value and then Skin Witch. But since we don't know a land is on top, let's just not be. We don't need to be so obsessed with drawing cards when we have such a big board advantage coming and Memorial to Genius available as well. What else we get? And a seal away, say. Nice. Gross? And you think that's gross? That's gross. You and I had different results from our 6-year-old experimentation Valhalla's is chosen. My conclusion after such scientific exploration was that sand was not, in fact, delicious. But you had to try. Eight, 9 total mana currently. We can. That's if we have a, but we don't have a actually instant. So we have 8. So we'll go Urborg and Arcanist number 2 after an attack. Are you with me now, Jeb? J-Ebis? I don't know how to pronounce your name, but yep. That's what I'm talking about. Survive until you loop broken stuff. Or loop value. It's not always broken. Sometimes it's just value. Oh, Jeebus. The lowercase e, big E threw me for a second there, but I get it. Jeebus. Jeebus. Praise Jeebus. Skin Witch, our least important card right now. Creature. Skin Witch did her work already. Well, here's another one to do some work. We need to potentially leave a card to discard, although we could draw here. So weird. I was like, okay, do we need to attack any planeswalkers? No. Okay. Yes, I did here. We can go here with that. No, discard here. Oh yeah, right. No, I like the discard. I'm fine with the discard. I would rather draw in the face of Eldest, or just discard the Skin Witch. That's fine. We'll just do that. And with 9, doesn't increase the clock to add the Acolyte. I don't want to add Graveyard Fodder for Oppo's choices. Or just take so long to think about it, your Oppo decides to give up. I don't blame Oppo. I mean, it's weird how long we can take on a decision like that. It's like, but that's where we're... All right, we're like 95%. Does this choice drop that to 93 or bring it up to 96? You know, just the really subtle shifts in your dominance, basically. But those are the ways you grab percentage. Grab percentage anywhere you can find it. I love coffee. Coffee loves me too. I burn it. Well, I don't burn it. I cook it and then eat it. So I don't know. Must be. But coffee knows its own purpose, I suppose. Again, we have like this 23rd card Scholar deal, but turn 1 Divest and then turn 2 Syncopate is nice. They are. Oh, Valhalla's beat me to it. Yeah, I'm not sad, but, you know, obviously you could put together spicier openers for this deck. Coffee. Oh, what are you doing, Ryan? You have a play. Wow, interesting choice, huh? I suppose we just plan on syncopating whichever we don't take. But I'm going to make him ditch Urgaros here. Maybe they'll play theirs. Okay, okay. Thanks. Love it. Don't do that. Maybe they figured, well, they know it's coming, so I'll just play it out, but I don't like that play. I think you gotta try and make your Skin Witches have high value unless you're just desperate. Would love to find a land here, but hopefully... And we could have kept up Syncopate if we were really worried about this Swarm, but it's instant. They might just... Yeah, like... When your opponent knows... Like, if Oppo's plan is to play this Spore Swarm, and they know that we know about it, and we're blue and we're tapped out, they should just main phase it, because now we have options that we didn't have before. I think even if you drew an Omnivore, you want to wait and use Skin Witch as sack fodder after she has forced a double discard. Rob is suggesting I start a podcast where we discuss fundamental strategies for limited. Interesting thought. Interesting thought. I'll put that on my my thought board. All right, yeah, we'll counter it. I kind of almost want to wait. Like, this barely matters. We kind of let him know we have it now, but and we're gonna scriptures, right? Yeah, I'm gonna let him have it. I mean, we're assuming we're gonna get out of this logjam on land, but I think if we do, we might be happier to syncopate whatever they try here. Although, not even really that either. If we let that resolve, they start to have good attacks for 1 point of damage, but then, yeah, I guess we should use something because we're just going to be... but the only thing... They're now playing around the Syncopate. So, I actually like showing them Wizard's Retort, and then they'll think that that's what we were sitting on. Syncopate doesn't get it done anyway. But I like what Logan is saying. We are intending to use a lot of our mana coming up, so let's go ahead and use some mana while we can, and not just sit here assuming that we're going to be bailed out by scriptures. We do not have our second black yet, so we can't just assume that's going to happen. And now we get to pass, and they'll probably play much harder into our open mana now that we've shown them the counterspell that they may hopefully think that we were on. All right, we didn't find our extra black, but we did find Dark Bargain mana, so now we have Syncopate and End of Turn Dark Bargain. If they don't do anything, we can Syncopate. This, of course, being the fundamental interaction that made blue broken for so long in the history of Magic. That when you can fall back on a plan of drawing cards while holding up counter magic, you win a lot of Magic games. And we really just want both the land, although I guess there's an argument for land of Arcanist since one of these isn't a swamp. We have another Dark Bargain as well. I believe in our ability to find swamps eventually. Here, though, I'm going to play the one of the Arcanists, leave up a... maybe we even... don't need the Arcanist now. Better to have the bargain ready. Yeah, I'm going to keep Syncopate Bargain here, especially with Scriptures in hand. A lot of weird early scooping, but people have different levels of investment into the game. Some people are just like, I'm done. Life is calling, I'm out. Come on, one swamp. Exactly. We just get a swamp here, we Skin Witch, and it becomes very hard to lose. Okay, swamp, and we don't need a second Skin Witch, so we'll take the Salvage. GG question mark? Looks like it was maybe GG before that, but that helps. I like our position. How about you? Not the best card against this opponent, but what do we have to get back? We can get their Urgoros, but the question, they're not playing blue. Side note, if you're looking to rank up in Dominaria this week, if you choose a blue player, your blue opponent's creature to get back with Reborn, they may have the bounce to send it back to their hand. So if you have the choice, it's safer to Reborn your own stuff. That said, let's go Omnivore. We still have the Syncopate. I don't think the Syncopate's going to get much here. We're going to go Shields down effectively on Syncopate. I could add an Arcanist. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to approach it. I'm just... I mean, this alone, this starts a process where they have to start chumping. It's almost like I might as well lead with the weaker stuff and see if that gets it done. Tell me about it, Nick. Like, I'm trying to complete that on this account, on the paid account, and I just I was pretty bitter and mean and harsh on Momir yesterday, and it's the Planeswalker thing actually gives it some interesting play. It actually makes it more skill testing. I feel like I built a lot of people I feel like I beat a lot of people because they did not understand how to which Planeswalkers to cast. You know, like I had people casting their what's his name, their Ral. Like, why are you casting Ral? Was I bitter? I don't know. I think bitter implies that I was like resentful about it. I don't know. I was just like I was snooty about it, if anything. All right, sorry, Oppo. Let's figure this out. So many ways to win. Now we've got Grun. Kind of makes me want to just play the scriptures. Maybe they'll scoop to that. Let's read this again. So let's do this. Yes, exactly. It was more eyes rolling into the back of my head than this thing is actually getting to me. All right. No problem. We kind of forced that hand. This is still going to do work, obviously. Oh, there was a suggestion to play the Drake, but we couldn't even kick it. I think that was one reason I kind of disregarded that play, is that we weren't ready for it at the time. But now we are. DJ gets to what I was getting at. Like, some people just value this whole experience differently, saying, yeah, the cost of any given loss is much lower in Arena than it was before. There can be joy in pretending it's a PTQ and still optimizing for every bit of edge, like we do around here. But it's also really cheap to just scoop and re-queue. Yeah, if you're frustrated and happiness for you is starting over, as opposed to continuing with what you're doing, frankly, this is a Magic experience that can afford you that luxury. Here we can go Soul Salvage, Reborn. Doesn't really matter. I think we're just winning from here, barring absurdities from Oppo. And with 8 mana, what are we going to do with 8? How about Windgrace into Soul Salvage? And that's why I did it, because now we can Soul Salvage the Urgoros. I love the combo of these two, and this, frankly. Definitely Urgoros, and then Omnivore. Oh, did I not get him? There we go. Also, yes, I heartily, like, I almost want to do a PSA on Twitter saying, I'll scoop early in that Momir thing if you will. You know, like, everybody scoop. Let's just all scoop to each other. I had an opponent scoop to me on turn 0 last night. I was like, oh, that is the best feeling I've had in this format so far. Trouble is, we can't get the density. I mean, I could go out there and say that and try and spread that word, but there's so many people playing Arena. The chances that you're gonna run into somebody who understands that philosophy is pretty low. I don't think you can have a tacit agreement to scoop on the draw, but I think everybody should be aggressively scooping in that format. Like, the first time somebody does something, and this is because I don't love it, you know, I mean, if you love that feeling, like, oh my god, they got something good, but I'm gonna gamble and I'm gonna get something better, like, that's what keeps people going in there. But for me, I'm like, yeah, when that advantage needle goes towards my opponent to any extreme degree in Momir, I'm out and I start again. I think basically that's the optimal way to do that if what you're trying to do is just get those cool frames in as quick amount of time as you can. Fanatic Guru, you and many others, who says, I really dislike Momir. I am just grinding it for the styles. Again, I should really try and see if my son is interested in Momir, because he actually might be like, he's not confident in his magic skills. He's definitely more of a Hearthstone player. We'll keep this. Scholar showing up every time for us. But he may find the kind of the randomness of that Momir experience to be right up his alley, and maybe he can grind him out for me. Yeah, I do think it is a little better. I was like, what is up with this? But then I am now of the opinion that it is better than regular Momir, because frankly there's extra choice, which creates more interesting game states and makes it a more interesting challenge. This is a problem. If they play a legend, it's a huge problem. If they don't play a legend, it is a long-term worry. This is a snap trade. We want to trade all day long with all their creatures in the face of this blade. And we want to get ourselves to, like, here, I actually think we go Divination into Arcanist. Now we have enough to syncopate Dark Bargain. We can syncopate for 4, so they can't really pay for anything. So we get to attack with both of these here. Squee is bad news, yes, but I think we can, if we get this Academy Drake online, we might even be able to beat a Squee. Especially if they stay stuck on 4 lands. Don't think Mesa Unicorn matters all that much, but The lifelink is just enough to get me to say, sure, let's smoke them while we got them here. Okay, Scriptures is nice. That's a great bailout if they get something through. If they cast something we desperately want to counter, we can respond with the Dark Bargain, leaving up 2, because we do have a Wizard counterspell in the deck that we can go find if we're desperate for that. We're gonna, with Dark Bargain, we should be able to Drake as a 4/4 next turn. Yeah, I can't do anything about that, so gonna have to have Scriptures come to the rescue after we get an Academy Drake down. That's plan now plan A. And thanks to it not being a legend, they're still 2 land away from being able to equip anyway. So find a land here, we hope. Ooh. Hard to pass a Dark Bargain, but I think we take Swamp and Clutches. We could take Bargain and Clutches, though. If we do that, I really want to get this Academy Drake out as a 4/4, though. But, man, yeah, we don't need Bargain if we get to play a 4/4 and then steal whatever they put this onto. Oh, yeah, we can take any permanent, right. I'm going to start with the Drake, though. We can wait till they invest a bunch of mana into the activation, too. Forget that's how good Clutches is. It's not just creatures, it's permanents. At a 4/4, this is still vulnerable to 2 common red removal spells and a white removal spell, so not necessarily expecting the Drake to survive here, but we sort of make them have to deal with it. And then we can clutch the Reforged. There you go. There's one of the common spells. That's also why I love my Soul Salvages. We end up getting those back in the long game. They're still not at equip level. But we can, let's see, that still leaves Clutches mana, but we don't really need to play the Arcanist. Let's just go for the Steal here. Well, there's especially nothing better than the Black Blade when we actually have the mana to equip. Now it gets real rough on Oppo if they can't get that Black Blade back or dead. Oppo having all the answers right now. Frustrating. But there's a Soul Salvage, and we can even potentially, let's see, 8 mana. Let's go like this, and like this. Which leaves 7. And we see if they've got more red removal. What else does it do? Does it give him... Just makes him big. So these can also start chumping, and Scriptures can kill whatever it's on. So hopefully we can, if they get to 7 mana... we can Scriptures and chump our way to a Drake getting there in 4 turns. But if they can take out the Drake as well... Alright. Equip 3. Five. It doesn't kill us. Doesn't kill us. If they play a land, it might. So we actually have to... I'm going to do this. we can make this the artifact, but if they draw a land, then 5, 6, this becomes... Oh no, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so even if they draw a land, we are not dead to the Sergeant-at-Arms, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on the Drake. If we felt like we might need to chump with the Academy Drake, then I might just want to put the counter on an Arcanist, because at least it lives, you know? Oh yeah, Frenzied Rage. I thought there's another one that gives it +2/+2 and can't block, and I was conflating it with that. But again, unless they have something to finish it off, at least all goes away right here. We got a long way to go, though, to beat a Blackblade. We're going to divest here. Hopefully get something. Beard Stachio says we're dead. Here's that. Pack one, pick one. This was in our pack, and a lot of people wanted to take it, and I said it's bad. You know what? It's bad. Oppo had lethal? How? Oh, because they had this in hand? Yeah, that is weird. They did have lethal. What were they doing? I mean, I thought one land wasn't enough, but yeah, this did make it enough. Although, let's keep in mind, first strike and haste, if they play another legend and equip it up, like, we're dead. So we do need to be... keeping our defenses up. Yeah, my math didn't include this +1 when I was thinking that that Oppo did not have lethal. Yeah, we got a long way to go. I don't know if we can. We need we need a steady stream of our value cards. Bells and Lock is like unplayable right now, right? It would just kill us if we're not careful. I have to look at that. Oh no, maybe we'd get away with one. It's yeah, that's good. They make a forced block here. All right, no land. Oppo giving us chances to beat a Blackblade, but I think we're flooding out a little too much for that to happen here. We have a forced chump. And I guess like a bounce spell would be good. Get rid of the counter. Yeah, but see, we're just we're in forced chump land, which is the problem. It just can't. We need to still keep going because we do have card draw. But obviously, this is a tough spot. Do it this way. And how does this... Well, gotta try. But why... In what world is that correct? Come on, auto tap. Fix that part, wizards. Auto tap should never do anything but leave me with a split when like just as a default. Why not default to this as the mana split? Trying to figure out if we need to wait and do this next turn or just do this now. Probably need to do it now. So we'll get Academy Drake and another chump. the argument to wait was that we can get one of these back instead of something dumb like a Scholar, but we need to use up all of our mana if we have any prayer here. Prayer's over. Wow. We lost to a bunch of marginal cards and a Black Blade is what I think. There are some good ones in there too. Yeah, good removal and Black Blade got Oppo there. Still had our chances. Drew a little more action instead of the little bit of flood we had there. Not that it was like surprising flood. We were pretty deep into our deck, but just flood in the sense of if our ratio had been a little different, I think we could have pulled that out. Nice easy keep. Excavators generally help us. I mean, here we are with the Soul Salvage in hand, so kind of looking forward to Oppo milling us. But I even considered playing it as a 1/3 for 3 in that desperate for 2 drops kind of way. We could just drop the Academy Drake and start being a little bit aggro, because we're going to add Windgrace Acolyte. If they do not have removal or sky defenses, although all this stuff represents removal and sky defenses, so it's not like the color in particular is weak to it. But with Soul Salvage is what I'm talking about. We can run this out, see what kind of work it does, and then get it back later as a 4/4. Scholar's late, but finally showed up. Late to class. They got a lot of open mana and a lot of cards and a lot of colors, but we'll offer him up a Scholar. You can do whatever you want to this dude. Trying to race him to Skin Witch, really. That's always what a lot of this game is about, racing to Skin Witches. It's really sad we never saw a single Cloud Reader Sphinx. This is maybe my favorite blue common. And really makes the deck sing, but we just didn't see any. Got a 5th land, though. We get Windgrace Acolyte, and we're going to cast that. Oh, milled a bunch of land. Unfortunately, we did want some. We want to land on the next turn. Yikes. Lost Nightmare, yes, there are. I think you generally want to be in Sultai colors. Oh, cool. We found the land anyway, and they didn't Skin Witch us. Still don't know what's going on there. I think we may get this Skin Witch countered, but we have Soul Salvage to try again in that case. Let's go ahead. So I really like Sultai. Either Dimir, base blue black is great, or green blue splash black, green black splash blue, and yes, blue red wizards is also good. I disagree that black green saplings are the strongest. I think blue is the strongest color in this format. Yeah, countered. But like I said, we're just going to Soul Salvage and try again, and say no attacks, and be happy to double block as well if they want to send in the Sphinx. Hey, there's Bells and Lock now that we can get back with the Salvage. Probably Bells and Lock Skin Witch. My one-sentence summary Lost Nightmare of this format is survive until you can recur value. That's your, you just want to recur value, but you got to survive to get there. And here we're going to recur some value. And is there a reason to do it with the Arcanist? No, we're not doing anything else here. And I think I'll keep the Arcanist in hand as Skin Witch protection of our own. It has been in a couple of sets now, yeah. And really it's still kind of the history of Blue's dominance in Magic continuing to rear its head. When you make primary card drawing in one color and good evasive creatures, it's always going to have a toehold on the format. All right. I think that's okay for us. Exile is sad, though. I'm going to Skin Witch their last two, though. We'll get Bells and Lock online after. But Bells and Lock wouldn't die to it. Death Touch Lifelink, pretty annoying on this 3/3. We can't do anything about it yet. Well... Are you serious? That is a hell of a top deck, Oppo. And then that? You can top deck that piece of garbage? Now I'm annoyed. People playing garbage cards and beating me with top deck syncopates. What a... That's right, we're still gonna get him. Come on, deck, come on. I don't really have time to do that on stream, but you can ask people around here and they'll often help you out. No, Bird's not even okay in a legendary deck. This is a terrible card. Don't play it. You have to be very, I mean, it's always over what, right? I mean, I'd have to see what's in opponent's board to make my official recommendation, but I assume that if I looked at their sideboard, I would find something I would rather play over an Artificer's Assistant there. But I won't call it... Almost nothing is unplayable because it's always in context of what the other options are. Blink to buy time? Yeah, I guess we're blinking to buy time. See, these are all three cards. I wonder what we're drafting. Like, these are cards that I see 12th and just don't want to play. Like, what were you picking 7th that you're playing Dredge Sentinels? I would love to understand how Oppo drafted this deck. We get to go Divination and Urgoros there. That's cool. Start with the Div. And that's why I wanted to start there. Although we can still go Urgoros and then Next turn, drop the Scriptures. Here's these two cards that I don't like getting some of their trigger value. And this is their upside, you know, this is their ceiling. Ceiling is pretty low, though. And we're happy to take this. Like, what's going on with that? Are we... Could be something here, but this just looks like a 1-for-1 to me, which is fantastic. Soul Salvage plus Scriptures. Woo! The hotness. Let's go like this, though. Yeah. Fanatic Guru says, the bird scryed a land, which is basically like drawing a card, so it paid for itself. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I just, like, that's its ceiling. That's like its best case scenario. And the worst case scenario is so bad with it that I just don't, you should just avoid it. I don't think I've ever run one, but I could probably concoct crazy drafts where I might be forced to. Yeah, unfortunately, Oppo has stripped away a lot of our good dead stuff, but I like the Skin Witch here because then if they hold back, because the Scriptures is going to get them, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't now. But the Lance makes every creature better, right? So, 6. We might just lose to that. Another Black Blade. I mean, how many Black Blades is one poor streamer supposed to beat? Really, it's the lifelink on this that's probably going to get us. Like, we just don't have the... we can't really go the distance here. We need every bit of power we can get to win in 5 turns. And we need Oppo to keep bricking, really. This is unlikely to hit, and this is why it's not a great card. It's a pretty terrible top deck, but if its role is to get you to your late game value recursion, it's not the worst. But we'll see if there's anything for us. Shocking, it's a land. All right, can we get there? It's a race between our library size and the top of Oppo's deck. Omnivore is a great draw. It turns these into extra damage. Huh. How about have we seen our blink yet? Oh, there's our blink, unfortunately. Looks like we have Syncopate and Eldest Reborn off the top would be great. Eldest Reborn is a win. All right, Eldest Reborn, here we go. Yeah! Suck it, Halcyon, Blackblade, blah-de-blah. I don't know how much you can complain about top decking when your opponent has 2 cards left in their library. The odds were pretty solid. Alright, well, we got our revenge against Blackblade on that one. That was, didn't realize how up against it we were on the library there, but snuck it in, snuck it in. Yeah, it's interesting that they didn't see that line, right? Shadow Butter, who points out that if Oppo had just played out their lands, it would have forced us to draw, and we would have decked, or at the very least would have had to try to figure out how to win without attacking with Urgaros, or whatever his name is, and that would have been difficult. Need double blue to really turn this hand on, but I'm not going to turn down this Bolus's Clutches. We're going to keep 7 here. Hey, second island. All right, if the land wants to slow down now, I wouldn't hate it, but I'm really glad we got our second blue. It's gonna Memorial, but I am going to, and we could also leave up Retort, but they're showing white. I don't know, from what I've seen, I'm gonna go ahead and play the Drake on 3. And start applying some pressure in the air. Could just go Scriptures now. She does have lifelink and is really annoying, but we are also... Oh, I should have geniused there. I hastily did this and thinking... I should have decided whether we're going to Scriptures or not before playing a land, so we could play the Memorial if we're not. Feels early to do it, right? But at the same time, 3/3 Academy Drake, kill Danitha. They can't really play anything on their own. They can't play a follow-up creature. And then we have Clutches and Retort after that. That feels like a strong board position. And this feels like the kind of card we could end up losing to. So yeah, it's a surprising time to play the Scriptures for me. But I think given our hand and deck, this makes some sense. We can even stay back on D, but we'll attack. They can get their 2 life, and I'm not going to put the Drake at risk. Yeah, another Blackblade coming down. Yikes. That would be funny. Torment. Also not really a card I respect. Sometimes it can do work, but frequently the token it produces is just chumpable, or you can deal with it in so many ways, so not too impressed with that. And what are we doing on this turn? Are we trying to leave up Retort, or do we want a Divination? Let's start with an attack, and then we think about that. I kind of want Clutches for the Torment now. I mean, the resulting count, the resulting token. So let's play Memorial and leave up Retort in case they do anything else crazy good. Is that crazy good? I don't think that's crazy good. It's good. I guess we'll retort. I'm going to retort it. We just have stuff we plan to do here. Oh, this is even better. We'll just kill the token unless they manage a second one. We could steal the Torment and get a 7/7 and go to 7, but I'd rather let them take out half of their life, and then we steal what's left after that. Only a 9/9 because we went and had the audacity to attack them. That's great for us. Steal or kill? Steal or kill? Let's steal, because then if they play a single creature next, we just kill and win. Also, it's protected against bounce. Not that they're playing blue, but if they were, you know, they can't bounce their creature back. Wow. This is just what we needed. Like, this was actually something we couldn't reborn our way out of, but then we drew the top deck we needed to just win here. This is not a good card, folks. Don't play it. Hey, Dionysus. How you doing? I mentioned I love this format. This is better than War. I'm sorry. War of the Spark is getting a lot of rave reviews, and I like it. I like it. But this is I love this format. $11 here. A reminder that we're going to have Jay Schneider on within the hour to join us for some constructed brewing. He had a homework assignment this week of building a deck around Parhelion 2. We'll see how he did with that, and then we'll talk about what else we want to do once he's aboard. This is a great start. We have a turn 1 play, a turn 2 play, and if we find land, a turn 3 and 4, 6. Like, we just have a nice curve out here. Triumph of Gerard is one of my favorite cards to beat. Like, just wrecking people who play that. It's done some stuff against me sometimes, but dismantling its effect as they try to maintain their board is a Dominaria hobby of mine. Mama, you should do some studying. You're in the right place here. You know, I hope to help you. I mean, I think you can get enough of a handle on it just from watching me play and maybe watching some others play this afternoon or this weekend or whatever, that you'd feel comfortable enough diving in. So Bolus's Clutches, we're going to want to have to syncopate eventually, and Knight of Nubenalia actually attacks through Scholar, so we're going to get rid of the Knight of Nubenalia. It is really fun. I mean, also, I don't know your financial situation, Mama, but if a couple of bucks isn't a big deal to you, go for it, because it's fun to learn new Magic sets, you know? Survive until you can recur your value. That's all you have to do. Not going to counter a Sergeant at Arms here because we have a Scholar. Yeah, so we're just gonna let that happen. And cool, we found our land. That was important. We can go Scholar, and then next turn we'll have Bargain, or we have Divination if we don't draw a land, or Bargain if we do. I see what you did there, Motor. So yeah, if you're in the enviable position of feeling like you're not strapped for cash or anything, then congratulations. You get to do whatever you think is the most fun. And I do think this is one of the most fun limited formats ever. So if you're digging limited and getting into it, I say go for it, because it's worthwhile to learn and have some experiences with one of the better Magic formats of the last few years. There is Divination doing what I said is such an important job for it. We were stuck on 3. We cast Divination and found our 4th land. That is the thing Divination does that something like Weight of Memory does not. And we passed a Weight of Memory in the draft for something that might seem like it's not as powerful, but actually felt very important. Here we're going to pass with Dark Bargain, Wizard's Retort up. Although we haven't played a land, we might want to just bargain now. We want to bargain now and go shields down. We know they have clutches they can't cast and seal away that we're not going to give them. If one of these or their top of their deck is like excellent, we might have some regrets going shields down, but I think we'll have bigger regrets not playing a land here and falling behind on lands. So let's go ahead and do this. The fact that there's a pause here says that their 2 remaining cards, one of them is an instant that could have been played there. Perhaps perhaps Momentary Blink, something like that. All right. Clutches on clutches here. We do not have the black to Skin Witch yet, but we have the Retort and the Syncopate to not allow ourselves to be beaten by clutches. We might even want to bait it out. Yeah, actually, here's what I'm going to do. Omnivore, leaving blue. And then, if they try to clutch, we get to Retort. Nick and I on the same page here. I'm sure many of you as well are. We're not going to stop that. And it was the Blink. Ooh, yeah, we're going to Retort that. We don't have many ways to stop it. We just now have to have Syncopate for the clutches, or we can reclutch. That's another thing you can do here. Clutch, reclutch. Man, ideally we'd find more black. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't really think about the fact that Syncopate would have countered that. Ah, that was bad. Actually, yeah, I would love to have that counter back. So a little punt there to not play the other counter spell. But we are gonna let's make him. It still provides a nice target here to put the Omnivore out and have them. If they try to clutch it, we can still bait it. Clutch, reclutch, I like that. We need to make a clutch, reclutch character. Hey, that's nice. We could do Skin Witch, then they certainly keep the clutches, clutch something, and we could reclutch, or we can just keep the Syncopate available and continue to chill on this particular board. I think I like that. We even have a Memorial Draw at the end of the turn if they don't do anything we want to syncopate. Patience, patience, patience when you've got your counterspells and you know they have a pretty big bomb. It's also so nice not to play against black because you know you're not going to get skin witched. Yeah, weaken for one, but if they draw a land, then they get the clutches through. I'm fine with patience here. Including letting that go. Soul salvage, you say? Nothing there yet. Kind of want to go shields down, skin witch, and just re-salvage, if they try to take the omnivore, re-steal. And then if they don't try to take anything, we get to skin witch again. I'm actually going to do that. And I failed to draw cards with genius. That was not genius. Rob has the right line on clutch reclutch, by the way. You can check chat for that. I'm not going to read it right now. But yeah, we're going to do this. They will, they'll keep their clutches, no doubt, but then they have to use it or lose it. We're going to get it now, we're going to get it on the board, or we're going to get it gone. That was nice. And they can pay for it. I would just like to counter it. And here, if we had made the right counterspell choices, we'd just be countering this, which would be much better. But this is fine. All right. Now, can I apply the Rob strategy without messing it up? So we're gonna control their clutches. We'll control both clutches, and we have to choose which one to keep, and we choose ours, so theirs is discarded, and then we'll get our creature back with both clutches in the graveyard. Well, wouldn't ours just stay on? Oh no, because this is on the yeah, right. So yeah, let's do that. I'm happy to take the Omnivore back. It creates a long-term threat. We're going to trade in the air with Urgoros and then get Urgoros back. How do we know which one is ours? Oh, owner. Choose a legendary person that you wish to keep, and that's ours. So we want to keep ours, and there you go. If they specifically exile Urgoros, we might regret that choice. Or if they have a bunch of unstoppable flyers. But look, bailed out. Easy game. Totally looks like we did that on purpose. I could send in with the Omnivore, but we're going to be patient one more turn here. One big smack in the air. I hope it's not big enough. If they try anything huge, we do actually have Syncopate for it as well. Oh, I didn't... I went for full control a little bit late. Obviously, I wanted to sack a bunch of stuff and get an extra damage. I don't think it's gonna be any kind of difference maker here, but obviously that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, we'll just add to the board instead, but I would have taken a little bit of extra damage there, because the thing is we're going to almost certain... Oh, now I've got full control on, which is annoying. We're playing this, which doesn't leave us much anyway. I'm going to start here for sure. Vaporkin. Unacceptable. We do not use hate language around here. I know you maybe are from a place where that kind of talk and language is normal and accepted, but it's not on my stream, so please don't use hate speech in my chat. And teach all those folks in your country to not do that. All right, we got there. I'm still glad you're here, Vaporkin. I just won't accept that kind of speech, but I love you hanging out and being curmudgeon-y and rooting for my losses. It's great. Feel like my presumption, and it may not be correct, but there's a lot of evidence to suggest that Vaporkin is from Russia or from one of the former Soviet states, and I kind of feel like their culture is rooted in like the 80s on that front. Okie doke. 5 wins. I kind of expect, like, I love this deck. It's got a lot of bombs, a lot of answers. It's just missing targeted removal. I am observing that Russia as a culture is behind the times on treating oppressed communities with respect. I know, but I'm just saying it, just to be fully clear. Easy poke. Yeah, exactly. I assume Vaporkin is just reflecting, again, the culture that they are in, but I won't have that culture here. Okay. Looks like we're up against blue-red wizards. That's a great archetype. Oh, if you can get it. This is a little odd to see that. This looked like a start towards straight blue-red wizards, but now it's looking more like could be Grixis control. We don't have anything great to play here. Although if we play an island, we do have a kicked blink with the Arcanist available, so we'll do that. No need to blink here, though. We're kind of in a staring contest, though. Not sure we want to play into it. But again, we have Soul Salvage. The only question is, do we don't even have our... If we had our own counter spells to keep up, I might hold back. But with Soul Salvage, we're going to offer them Omnivore and see if they want to counter it. I mean, if they Syncopate, we don't get the Omnivore back because it's exiled, but we're still going to offer up stuff here. That's fine. Land, land, land. All right, we got land. We're going to drop a Acolyte. Hopefully add to our sweet soul salvage targets. No new soul salvage targets, but we got 3 non-lands off the top. Hopefully we get land number 6 and can witch out the rest of their hand. But this is another black deck, so we may get witched first. I'm telling you, a lot of this format, when you see black across the way and you've got black yourself and a Skin Witch in hand, is like, who is going to fire off their Skin Witch first? Almost want to trade here. I'm such in a trading mindset when we have soul salvages and all that, but we'll say no blocks. All right, now we got some action. Thank you, Oppo. We're going to start by stripping you of all of your remaining cards, and then we're going to dominate you with the bombs you just put in our graveyard. And here we'll go ahead and offer one of our 2 1/3s for this Thallid. Land is great. Kind of just want more land here. Might even just play the Drake at 7. Yeah, let's just go with what's in hand right now. Although I have set myself up now to possibly get witched on the follow. If this is a land and they go land witch, it'll be highly unlikely but highly annoying, I'll say that. It's possible. More expecting this, okay, just don't witch me. Don't witch me, bro, or I feel really silly about leaving that value in the yard off of this salvage. Bear wrestling. I can come up with a lot of problems with that. What was the best possible? The Explorer going in the air. But do we want to send it back? I mean, I don't care. I almost want to trade the Drake for it. And then... because, like, we're getting back so much. 5, 6, 7, 8... I'm just going to offer this trade. They don't even want the trade. Well, let's see what they feel about that after we do this. Oh, don't do it that way, though. Come on. Not a bad soul salvage. I don't feel the need to blink yet. I mean, we're just in a great advantage. I'd almost rather save blink to protect these bombs. That's why I, take the Drake, take the Academy Drake trade or not. We're gonna. All right, yeah, they can't beat these. They know that. I'm going to be very aggressive with the way I trade in this deck when we have 2 soul salvages. It's like we just want, again, we're trying to survive until we recur value. And so if that's the name of the game in Dominaria, you got to be willing to make some weird-looking trades if you have the tools in your deck to win the long game. I am in the zone, but a bomb-filled Dominaria deck's going to do that for me. Should practically play on the free-to-play account just because this is going to be such a profitable week for me. Solid. Obviously, we're a little far from these bombs, but this is the perfect thing to make me comfortable about potentially getting there. Cut that out from under them, and now their hand is garbage. Yeah, that's a fair point. You can wait until turn 2 to divest. There's almost no relevant 1-drops. So if you're on 1 and you have no turn 2 play, then you can keep that. The risk is that our deck does have, you know, something like 5 or 6 2-drops that, and some of them are turn 2 plays. So you may end up drawing a turn 2 play that you wish you could have played. But I think we're in a good spot here. Don't be so hurt, Vaporkin. It's not about American or not. It is. I am identifying that we have different cultural baselines, right? This isn't about feeling like Americans are special. This is just me as a human being feeling like people don't deserve to hear hate speech in my chat. That's all. You can make it nationalistic. It was just an observation, though. I mean, if you think I'm wrong, like maybe you think you're anyway. I'm not trying to make it national. I'm just trying to identify that the nationality difference is often where the big gaps come from. But again, hope you're not resentful. Just trying to create the environment I prefer around here. Leaving up Blink as opposed to casting, dropping Memorial. We can do Memorial next turn. Be nice if they tapped out or tapped low for something so that our Demon Lord had a clearer coast. I would hate to get it syncopated, but we may have to risk it. Let's see. If we find something else to play, I might play it. Would love to wait and... Yeah, in fact, like, I'm going to just be careful here and drop Arcanist. Yeah, Jay is going to be on after we wrap this up. There was a pause there, but they have Befuddle, so that doesn't tell us anything. Nice one from Adam. Russia might be ahead on laws and policies that are discriminatory against LGBTQ+ people right now, but the US is quickly catching up. Eye roll. Sigh, tears, etc. Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it careful. We're gonna drop an Omnivore here. And we still have full value Blink available with the Arcanist that's ready. Maybe so, Pod. Let me tell you, it's hard to freeform up here. I was just encouraging Vaporkin to be a positive force in his community, but maybe that came off as bad. One of the things I try to avoid doing, but it's hard to avoid doing, is telling people should. So, like, if I tell Vaporkin, you should whatever, it's not. When I catch myself telling someone they should do something, I recognize that that's probably not the best the best way to frame it. So good point there, but have a little flexibility for me too. I'm working on the fly here. I didn't compose a thoughtful email or whatever. Okay. I'm still playing around these unknown cards, but also maybe I'm just being dumb and I should make him have it. One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, even if we do that, like, if they have Syncopate, it's just going to get countered. I'm going to continue to be patient. Oh, it's on their turn anyway. I was thinking it was passing to my turn. Great. Got caught up in chat. Ah, they're just doing nothing. Well, we're in that spot of, like, if you play around something all game and then stop, and then it turns out they had it, well, duh, that's why you were playing around it. But I may have been pretty paranoid here. We got to see their hand, but blue just loves Syncopate. Yeah, which would just be amazing, right? We have clutches as a backup, and they don't really have anything going here. And also, I think I'm missing attacking. Like, I'm sorry, I got caught up in chat, and I'm underplaying this game. Let me start here. Yeah, I like that. Let's be patient again and crack Memorial, and I'll actually try and remember to use my stuff this time. Gift of Growth. I'm not sure we even care about that. Oh, you kicked it, though. Let's do... Actually, I'm just going to do this. Yeah, we're going to sack the wizard. Oops. I don't really need either of these creatures particularly. This uses up a lot of their resources. Aha! Now, let's see. 1, 2. If we blink, we don't get... Alright, I'm just going to do it now. We'll blink, and then I feel like this really puts them out of everything, and now I'm pretty confident that they got nothing. We could bounce our own guy, whatever. That's all good. Yeah, the other consideration was that by tapping out, we could just let it all happen and be sure to resolve our Demon Lord, but I think... Yeah, I get it. We could have resolved, but that sequence makes me think that they actually don't have a counterspell here, that was their... that was what they had for the situation. So now we're going to rely on the gut expectation that they do not, in fact, have a counterspell. If they do, and the Demon Lord is exiled, then we do have clutches followed for whatever else they do. So here we go. Let's find out if we're right. Yep. And Vaporkin, my comment about Russia was not about you. It's about my observation of the policies in Russia. And attitudes I've seen from other Russians besides you, but mainly it's the policy stuff that I see. Let's move on, okay? I'm glad you're here, Vaporkin. I really am. Easy game, folks. I'm a little disappointed we lost once. But that one time, Oppo had everything to answer. But this deck was sick. I didn't want to set par at 7 wins. But I felt pretty good about where we were going to end up here. So, is this a 17 or 16? No, this is a 17. We actually considered 18 because when you have as much power as we have in this deck, you can presume... One mentality you can have about extremely powerful decks is, as long as I cast my spells, I'm going to do okay. And that's generally a reason to have more lands than fewer. So I've had games against obviously weak opponents where I had extremely powerful late game cards, and I just would add the 18th land or whatever, just because I feel like in that game I'm not losing if I can cast my late game spells. So let's increase those chances. So I don't like going to 16. I would rather go the other direction in a deck with a lot of power. But in this case, we also had multiple card drawing spells, four cards that drew us four spells that drew us cards plus 2 soul salvage. So I felt like we would use the divinations and the dark bargains to find the lands we needed if we were short. So that's what I was thinking there. But yeah, great to have a... We go to here. Having a 7-0 run is nice. Oh, let's go. We got to claim our prize, then we can open the packs. 7-1 run, rather. Home. Motor City Mama wonders, are you concerned about stream sniping? I have a friend who started streaming and he is pretty high up on Mythic rank and starting to suspect it's happening. I'm not concerned. I recognize that it's going to happen, fortunately or unfortunately, like both my level of audience and the ranks I'm generally playing at, because I don't pursue rank, is probably making it not as much of an issue. We've had one point on stream where everybody was pretty confident that we were being sniped. We had someone whose username in Arena was also a username in chat and was making very prescient plays. So that's like the one time that we really thought it happened. But I'm not going to sweat it. It's just part of this environment that I have put myself into.